All right, we're here, guys. We're doing it. So this is episode 6 of the GISD Digital Learning Fast 5 podcast. I'm Brian on the team. We got let our colleagues introduce introduce themselves. It's not myself. They can introduce me if they want. I normally have cold brew for the occasion, but I don't know, guys. I brought it to work, and normally I nurse it all day long, but I guess I just drink it all in the car, so I don't have any today. But
I like that part of waking up, so I guess you really needed it this morning.
I did. So, all right. Yeah, we got Chelsea and Martine here as well. How are you guys doing?
I'm wearing my yellowish flannel today because we have I3 meetings. So I was like, I gotta rep some of the yellow colors. I know it's rough, Ashley. There's only like 5 to choose from. And I say only, but I need to get another one. It's in the Amazon wish list. That's what I'll say.
I'm Martine Brown. I'm here with my water today. No fancy bows, though. I had to put them to the side. It's a little warm. It's been a little warm the last couple of days, so I'm trying to keep it cool. And I'm excited.
Did you have a cute bow, though?
Yeah, I do. It's a side bow, but it's not my typical bows that I enjoy. But it's all good. I just wanted to be a little cooler this morning, and I'm excited.
Your femme bow. I love that name.
Yes. Yeah, a little Paris, but I left it at home today.
Cool.
And we are so excited. We have one of our powerhouses. It's the best not secret in Garland ISD. She's one of our ready one-to-one instructional coaches. We are so excited to welcome Miss Ashley. Guys, if you haven't had a chance to experience what it's like to have the support of instructional coach, one of our one-to-ones, man, you're missing out. And we're just happy to have her here with us today. So welcome, Ashley.
Yeah, thank you. So excited.
Good. Glad to have you. So I'm gonna venture off into our first tip of the day. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and present my screen, and we're going to talk about something I found. Ironically enough, I found this based on some information that I was learning, because we're all learning together, that I learned from the Ready Coach meeting. So they shared some information, and then I kind of found this quick tip along the way, and guys, it is definitely a game changer. So here's what it is. At the top, if you go to assignments.google.com/CA, just like that, you just use that link and you select enter. It will take you to, oh, hold on, I've got to change the me version.
You're in digital learning. Yeah.
I'm in digital learning. So let me change.
Yeah. So guys, when we figured this out, it's amazing. So like we were in a meet yesterday, and a teacher was like, I want to grade like these Google assignments from my phone. Right. And she's like, it's not working really well. So anyway, she was excited when we shared this with her.
Yes, very, very excited. So let me stop presenting so I can get the right tab open. Let's try that again.
The other me.
Yeah.
Let me introduce myself to my other self, as Ryan said.
So let's try this again. All right, and you got, yep, there we go.
For those of y'all that are listening, we are going to drop this link in the show notes. So if you don't have time to write it down, that's fine. We're going to drop it in the notes.
Absolutely.
And you'll probably want to bookmark it as well.
Definitely going to want to bookmark it. So, and this is tied to, as Brian was saying, our Google Assignments LTI 1.3. You'll just go to assignments.google.com/CA. You hit enter. And then it will take you to all of the courses that you are an instructor on. So I'm going to go to this course right here, this top one where I'm an instructor. And then it lists all of the Google LTI 1.3 assignments that I have available. When I click on view assignments, it lists all of the students that have submitted assignments. I'm going to tell you up front, I have 3 students in this class, and only one of the 3 students has turned assignment in.
How dare they?
Well, you know, they've got time. It's not due to September 30th.
Oh, okay.
So if you have a student who says, Miss, I promise you, I've submitted my assignment, you can actually go to this page and it will be listed there if they've submitted the assignment. If they haven't, then it's not gonna, it's not gonna be there. So I only did one student because I wanted you to see that it's only gonna show the students that submitted. Now, can you still check? Absolutely. Remember a couple weeks ago, in a previous podcast, we talked about going into your drive and finding your folder in your drive, because you do have a folder from Canvas. You can also see who submitted, who hasn't. If you still own that document, the student hasn't accessed it. If the student owns the document, then they have access.
Wait. Can you say that again? So when you're in the Google Drive folder, how do you know what?
So when you're in the Google, and I'll show you guys how to do that, because that was one I think Chelsea and I together kind of figured out, and it was awesome. So I'm going to show you that real quick. With Canvas, there is a folder. We talked about this a little bit, but it's all about who owns it. If the teacher still owns the folder, let's see.
I think it's called
assignments.
Thank you. If the teacher owns it, then the student hasn't opened that assignment yet, or they may have returned it. If the student owns the assignment, let's see if I can find it. Y'all are getting
what it's like trying to dig it in the drive.
Yes. If the student owns the assignment, then that lets you know, and you'll find that right there. I may not be able to find my folder, but it's all about who owns it. It gives you a lot of information about where, what's been going on with assignments. So now you've got two routes. You can use this assignments.google.com/CA. We'll drop it in the show notes. Or you can always go back to that Google Drive, find your assignments folder, and see what's happening with all of your students' work. Anyway, we just wanted to share that very short and quick tip with you about Google LTI 1.3, because it's really a pretty powerful tool when you learn how to use it effectively in your coursework.
Martine, I had a question for you.
Yes.
I think I remember something. We were troubleshooting with a teacher and we were looking in the assignments folder, and didn't we see that a parent email had also accessed it? And we were even able to diagnose that, because when we saw that, we were like, oh, they must be signed into a different Google account than their student account. So many things can be diagnosed just from that folder and from that assignments page. It's crazy.
And of course, I found the folder right after. But Brian has that folder up. That's the way it always works.
Yes.
So there's the folder. And then he can probably click on that sandbox course. And then
it instantaneously creates these folders from the assignments. It's crazy.
And maybe click on that brainstorming activity that has the number 1, because all the students didn't submit the assignment there. Okay. So if you notice, I own that one, which tells me that that student probably hasn't accessed the assignment at all, or they returned it. And then the second one, the student owns it. So that means that that student is still working on it. I have 3 students in that class. The other student isn't listed, and I'm assuming that they haven't accessed the assignment at all. But I would have to reach out to the student and get a little more information before I made that assumption. So that's a very powerful tool you can use to really have good conversations with your students about what's going on with their assignments and making sure you're able to capture their engagement.
Yeah, and one more thing on that too, that's nice, is that any files you attach to it, it actually puts the template of those back into that folder too. So if at any time like a student can't access it from Canvas, or some troubleshooting issue happens, you could always go grab that template and then share it with them and make them force a copy, and then they would have a copy of it. So it's kind of those back end stuff that you can do just to make sure that they have whatever they need.
That's
Actually,
awesome.
I really love that tip. It really is a season of trying. All of us, instructional coaches, DL, really working to empower our teachers, right? So I'm going to pass this on to Ashley, who's going to be sharing some great tips to maximize your grading experience and maybe take some of that stress off of grading and assignments with your students.
All right. So tip number, I guess this is 2 of the episode, but 1 of grade booking is going to be switching off your automatic or manual posting for Canvas. So on here, you have the option to do this for your entire gradebook, or you can do it per assignment. And the reason I like having this option so much is because we know that sometimes as teachers, we don't get to grade every single period. We don't even get to finish an entire period in one setting. And so when you're going through these assignments, you may have graded 6 or 7 of them, but you still have 20 other students that don't have grades on there. Well, kids talk, we know that. So some students could say, hey, like I got this on this assignment, what'd you get? They don't have a grade posted. So it looks like they could potentially have a 0, even though there's no grade in there. And we know that panics them, and then you can get emails and all these other things added onto your plate. So personally, I would leave mine on a manual posting for my entire grade book. That way, whenever I am finished grading an assignment, I can go in and post those grades only. And on the Canvas gradebook side, from the student and the observer view, they will see the grade that's been posted. Now, students and observers can still see all of the assignments that are in the gradebook at the time. Mm-hmm. But if you have them on a manual posting, they would just see like that eye with the cross through it. They're not going to be able to see any grade updates until you post them per assignment. But remember, you can always do this individually for each assignment. So maybe you want overall your gradebook to be automatically posting onto Canvas Gradebook, but there's this one assignment that you know it's going to take you a little bit to grade. So you could switch that to manual posting, and then whenever you're ready, you can switch it over and do.
So like maybe a quiz or something could go direct, like could be an automatic, but then maybe if they're doing like an essay,
discussion,
right. Or like, you know, one of those major grades, it's like a project and you need some time to look at all the resources they did. That would be one that you may want to set to the manual. So then it's not, you know, sometimes I only got 1 or 2 projects a day, and then it would take me like a week to grade stuff. So,
no, not never.
I know, right? And then on that topic too, just thinking about, I know with the end of the cycle coming up in a few weeks, and then even at the end of this week, we have our UIL grades posting for in high school. And so with that, you know, you don't have to sync grades every single day. I know when I was in the classroom and we only had posting on Skyward, I didn't have to worry necessarily about the Canvas Gradebook, but I never went into Skyward every single day and posted grades. I'm going to be real honest. I did it 1 day a week. It was either Fridays or Sundays, and those were the days that I put grades in. And, you know, I made parents aware of that at the beginning of the year. And so just to save yourself some sanity too, you know, set a day where that's your day you sync grades. And then you have that time in between to update any grades you need to, and then you can resync them, you know, later on down the road whenever you are ready. You know, I think one thing that teachers do is we're so eager to get grades into Skyward right now and making sure the sync works. But the more missing assignments you have in Canvas Gradebook, it's going to show it in Skyward, and then you're going to come back and you're going to have to keep resyncing that over and over again. So I suggest until you have majority of your grades done for that assignment, and then sync it over.
I wanted to talk to you about that. You mentioned the missing, because like that's been kind of some feedback that we've gotten. And I know you're being at a high school, I'm sure you've run across this with your teachers, but you know, the parents will see in Skyward that, hey, this assignment is missing. What could the teachers do? Like, let's say they set the grades to not be automatic, right? That they're going to manually say, like you said on Friday, okay, Fridays I'm going to post grades. What can they do to maybe not have it show up missing in Skyward? Like even if the kid did turn it in late, but maybe they conference with the kid or whatever, and it's okay. Can they do anything about that?
Right. So on the Canvas Gradebook, if you select a student that may have a red background or a blue background for late or missing work, if you click on their grade, a new icon will show up to the right, and it's like a little box with an arrow. And if you click on that, it will open up what they call a grade detail tray. I think that's what it's called, grade detail tray. And on there, you're able to edit any of the grades that you need to, but also you have a grade status option. So you can change whether it's a missing, late, or just, you know, normal submission. And that also can help get rid of those colors on the gradebook if that aggravates you. I know OCD about certain things like that. And if I saw all these different colors, but I knew there were assignments in there, you can go directly onto the grade, click on that new icon to the right, and then switch whatever you need to switch.
I like
a small
that.
tidbit on there. You can change the colors. Did you know that? You can do custom colors.
Yes.
Not that I would have a custom color palette so that it wouldn't aggravate me, but like the brown, it's like red, green, yellow, brown.
Mhm.
Oh,
What is
that was
brown?
a bad assignment.
Yeah, and you can put like your own hex colors and everything in there, so it's completely
yeah.
about you. So even, you know, if you have like color blindness or anything like that, that's an accessibility feature that
Yes.
has, so you can switch colors if you're not able to differentiate between them. So that's really nice too.
Wow.
I'm so enjoying that you brought up the accessibility features and how having that piece in there could really support all of our adult learners. Thank you so much, Ashley, for sharing that.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about this whole piece with communicating with our students, communicating with our families. What have you found works well as far as when you want to message a student regarding a grade? Like, what are some ideas or tips you have for that?
Okay, so this may be one of my favorite features of Canvas, but when you're in the Canvas Gradebook and you're on a specific assignment, there is an option to have 3 dots at the very top. If you put your mouse over it, you click on those 3 dots, you are able to message students who, and then you can pick who you want to message. So it could be students who have not submitted the work. You could do even by grade. So students who made lower than a specific grade or higher than a specific grade. That's a great way to even reach out to your kids that are doing so well in your class. I mean, I know a lot of times we always focus on the ones that didn't do their work or, did poorly on that assignment, but you could actually, any kid that makes an 80 or higher, congratulate them or congratulate students for turning their work in on time. Because we know right now it's a huge thing for that to happen. And not only do they get the confetti when they turn it in on time, but you could also send them a personalized message that's just like, hey, I'm proud of you. I'm so glad the work you're doing in my class. Give them something to look forward to, just like we normally, sometimes call parents about good things that they do. So that's another one.
I'm gonna have to really play with that some more because I really like that idea of having that built-in engagement. Because kids get when we present ourselves as creative and interested in what's important to them, they'll get creative as well, and it'll keep coming back. I've been saying that often, like how can we get students to keep coming back? And I think that's an excellent way to do that. We've got a lot that's happening between Skyward and Canvas. Any ideas about how to, ensure that we have some consistency in communicating what is the total grade? Because sometimes it's the same.
Oh, so the total grade column in Canvas can kind of be a problem for school districts that use an SIS system gradebook. That's your hard copy. Like that's where your kids are going to be, and that's what to focus on.
Like Skyward is
right.
The grade book, even though you're taking grades in Canvas. Absolutely, yeah.
So a couple things you can do with the total or the grade total column in Canvas. You can actually hide this from students. So you would still be able to see it on the teacher side, but you can hide this from students. And I have suggested this to a ton of my teachers because sometimes we do assignments in class and we don't want to put it in the grade book. Different things happen. Maybe it was a total fail and students didn't do well on it. And, it's just something that's going to keep adding up, but it could be in your total on Canvas. But then when you start syncing grades to Skyward, the total is going to be different, and kids and parents may be really confused as to why those are different. So you can actually go into your settings for each of your courses, and then you are able to go to course detail, and it's on I think you may have to click the more options button. Yes, so click on the more options button. It'll be near the very end of it, but just check that you want to hide totals from students, and then make sure you save or update course details at the bottom. And then that total column will go away for students and observers. So only you'll be able to see it on your end.
I love that.
Because there's some grades that you might just put directly in Skyward that you're not even touching in Canvas.
Right.
And that back and forth of this doesn't match this, I'm sure would be very confusing. That is a really good tip, Ashley.
And then I know another thing that we mentioned too is that the total column being at the very end can be really hard to find and know what's going on with totals, and being able to immediately see what students maybe are failing or doing really well so that you can contact them. You can actually click and drag on any column in the gradebook and you can move it. So it's like an Excel sheet. You are able to just click on the assignment name at the very top and then drag it wherever you need it to go. And I think with the total column, you can actually do that from the 3 dots, and it will give you an option to move to the front. So you could have it at the very front next to the students' names rather than at the very end.
That's super handy, especially if you have like a lot of assignments that are like built out, you know?
Yeah.
I dropped my microphone. So. Don't mind me. I'm just dropping my mic here.
Mic drop. It's just a mic
It
drop.
was so good. It was so good.
And then it like wrapped around my chair arm, and anyway. Okay.
I really like that idea. Since you can drag them all, that means you can drag what you're currently grading now to the front and keep that. That's a time saver.
Right, and there are a ton of there's a ton of view options within the gradebook also, and you know it's a lot to explore, and I think that's the big thing is you have to click a lot of buttons to get there, but you can set it up in so many different ways that you can only see specific assignments at a different time. So we can share more on that later.
Yeah.
Excellent. I also want to add, for those of you that are listening, there are live trainings. So a lot of the tips that Ashley shared, I was able to learn about them in the live trainings. And you click on that little help icon to the left of the Canvas. There's a really good one on the gradebook, and literally I'm going, I had no idea.
You are reading my mind. I did that this morning, literally right before we hopped in here. I was in that training. I am not kidding.
Yes. So, you know, make sure you also check out the live trainings. They're for educators, by educators, folks who've really used these tools with students, whether it be adult learners or students. And so they actually offer a lot of insight.
I love those trainings. They're so good.
And I've noticed they started doing some like after hours, like 5:30, you know, in the afternoon, so you know teachers can actually attend them. So okay, so Ashley, I think we're so glad you're here, and I think we have time for one more tip. Like you mentioned something about the gradebook and we were talking. What do they say? Off air. We were talking off air in the green room. No, not all together. We are socially distant.
It's the blue room, Brian.
Sorry.
I am in the podcasting room.
That's right.
It's not a green room. It's a blue room.
You're right. We were talking off air about the whole idea of using the gradebook for more than just grades, right? Like taking notes about your kids. Chelsea shared this, this, I guess, experience. We will call it everything's an experience. We had an experience. We had an opportunity to talk to a teacher who was making notes about the students, but she was making it on the assignment. So the kids were seeing the notes that she was making, but then we were sharing that with you and you told us something that was awesome about the gradebook. So I don't know if you had time to share that. I think we have time if you do.
Yeah. So I said the other one was my favorite feature, but I think this is the all-time favorite feature of the gradebook that I like on Canvas is that you can actually add a notes column, which will be right next to your students' names. And in there, you can add any information that you would need, but no one can see it except for you. So this is a great place to add any of your IEP 504 accommodations, modifications, anything that you need to know about a specific student. You can pop that in right there. And then it's a reminder every single time you're grading an assignment, hey, they get 3 extra days. Like this isn't actually late. Let me switch that off. Little things like that. Another reason I like it so much is because since we are doing this hybrid learning right now with some of our students in class and some online, this is a great place to make notes of that too. So you could also, have notes of how you're seeing your students each day. And I think the last thing I would use it for is to put like personal notes in there. So maybe my kid that's at home doing virtual learning, his cat came on to our Google Meet one day, and his cat has the name of Eddie. Well, I'm able to put in the notes, and then I'm able to refer back to that later, and I could ask that student, "Hey, how's your cat? How's Eddie doing? Like, what's going on?" But then you're able to have those like personal interactions and making sure you're really getting to know your students, especially when we can't be in the room with them and really have conversations one-on-one and get to know all the things that we're so used to doing with our students.
I love it. So you have to show the notes column, then you can. I love it. It shows up like right now. That's super cool.
Right.
That's
so yeah, you would just click on the views option at the top and then click on the notes. And then you're able, it'll just put a check mark next to it and it'll pop that column right in there for you and you can.
Okay. So those do not go to Skyward. Like it's not like it's going to attach itself and then suddenly show up to the parents in Skyward or something.
No. So only you can see it. And even when the kids like click on, if you allow kids to see the gradebook in their course, they can click on the gradebook. They wouldn't see any of the notes that you have in there. It's only for you.
Awesome. See, that's exactly what we were experiencing with the teacher. She was trying to do something similar, but had mistakenly done it as a comment on the Google assignment, I think is what Chelsea was saying. So
you listen to me so well, Brian Dean. You're just replaying all the conversations that we've had.
I do.
Ashley, I don't know if we can express how fun it has been getting to virtually meet with you again, like we always get to do, but just the expertise and the support that you are showing to your teachers. Like you just moved through this gradebook just like nothing. So these tips are life changing and they are so timely with, just like you said, UIL cutoff coming out, our grade books are coming out, like all of those things. So thank you for joining us today and making our podcast a little bit brighter.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. So it was
cool. Well, as always, guys, we are going to post the show notes and also give us a little bit. But when it hits YouTube, I will add in the timestamps so you can just kind of click on the different segments that you want. But yeah, that's it, I think, for episode 6. I can't believe we're already here, episode 6. So
see you next time.
Right. Bye, y'all.